Hi, I'm just about getting started. And welcome, everybody. Welcome to Conscious Being, Conscious Living, the exploration with your host, Eva Pandit. And today we will be exploring the topic of whispers of possibilities. Hi, Arthur. Oh my God. Hi, Atinas. It's so interesting. Today I'm trying something different, something new. We're going live simultaneously on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. How does it get any better than this? So, whispers of possibilities. Have you ever considered that that which is truly possible does not yet exist? Right? When we talk about possibilities, when we engage with the energy of possibilities, we're essentially engaging with that which isn't yet there, but is possible. And so these possibilities talk to us all the damn time. Sometimes we call them our ideas. Sometimes we just ignore those whispers because, come on. And so, oh, something showed up on Instagram. And I'm back on Instagram. So, well, possibilities are something that is possible. It is all of those whispers that you're aware of in the future that are speaking to you, engaging with you right now, all of your business ideas, all of those, joy that your body is filled in with when something comes up as an idea. And so I work a lot with entrepreneurs, and we talk a lot about how being an entrepreneur, being a creator, even a creator of your life, and that's what essentially an entrepreneur is too. We're just using business as a way we're creating our living. So, whatever is the way in which you're creating your living, look at how much you're always engaging with these whispers. And first of all, have you acknowledged that it's a completely different universe? And it requires you to give up a lot of form and structure and significance because that which is in the future, that which is a possibility, does not have a definition. Definition by definition limits itself, and possibility is an explosion. And so I was looking at what are we going to talk about today, and this topic of really engaging with these whispers came up. And along with that, a huge download of all of these different pieces that are involved when we're engaging with the possibilities and the whispers of possibilities, rather. One of those pieces is trusting in yourself. You've got to be willing to trust because these whispers are telling you something is available to choose, and everything in the quote unquote reality, what is right now, might say it isn't. So, like, for example, imagine our great 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 grandparents. If someone was to tell them, I'll travel to moon one day, they'd be like, yeah, whatever. Until somebody really heard those whispers and started engaging with those whispers and started being really in wonder. What's truly possible? Can we do that? What is required? I wonder what it would be like to be on moon. What would it be like to take man to moon? And so it's with those questions and in trusting those possibilities, trusting those whispers, that you start moving towards what's truly available, what's truly possible, all that you're aware of. And nobody's going to validate your awareness. Nobody's going to tell you, yeah, you're right. That's totally possible. You are so on point. Let's go to moon. Chances are that majority of people don't see it, but you do. And so the element of trusting yourself with what's truly possible, what's truly available, is a key ingredient when you're listening to and engaging with and creating with these whispers of possibilities you're aware of. Another element in this engagement and energetic creation and play with the future is letting go of control. How much in your life do you hold on to things and want to control things just to make sure it's going to be right? And I might know nothing about that. Just kidding. Control freak of magnitude speaking to you right here. So I kind of also get, because all of our life, all of our education, which I actually like to call our entrainment, has been about telling us what is right, what is wrong, what is the way to live, what is it that you're not supposed to do, how are you supposed to behave, how you're not supposed to behave, and the right and perfect way to be and create. And somewhere in that, we start controlling things. We start trying to control things. And you start using control as a way to create, as if control is what creates. Now, don't get me wrong. I do get that, you can find a lot of validation and proof around the whole thing, around how when you're defining and confining and, using control, it does create something. My question is it creating the possibilities you're aware of? And if not, what is required? What different way of being? What different way of creating? What different way of engaging with the world is required? And are you capable of that would actually allow you to actualize the possibilities you're aware of? And everything that does not allow that, will you destroy and uncreate it all? And this thing that I just said is actually a tool that we use in Access Consciousness, of which I'm a certified facilitator. Um, and this is a method we use to just clear off energies. That what if you could truth, are you an infinite being? Yes or no? What do you know about that? And so if you are an infinite being, does an infinite being have a problem? No. So you must, at some point in your existence, have created something as a problem or something as a thing, quote unquote. And so if you are the one that created it, guess what? Who's in power here? What if you could destroy and uncreate all of those limitations? And so, what would it be like to allow yourself to be out of control and out of definition and out of limitations and all of these forms, structures, and significances that you've bought in as real and true that you're trying to create your life around, that even though they make sense, they're logical, they're linear, it's kind of killing your joy. So everything, all of that is, and everywhere you've discredited you from what you know, those whispers that you hear, nobody else does. Everywhere you have unvalued that, everywhere you have let go of that in favor of something else, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate that? Simple as that. Just a willingness to change is what starts you on that journey, is what creates it for you. And so, engaging with whispers of possibilities, I guess another element I need to bring in here and really talk about one more time is not in the show, but I talk about it a lot, is really getting that how do you speak with energies and how do energies speak with you? And even before that, even looking at what is your first language? Is the language you speak, the words you use your first language, or something else? What is the language that exists in the nature? What is the language in which the energies and whispers and possibilities talk to you? And what is that language that you were born knowing? It's the language of energy. Like, have you ever noticed, been around a little baby, and have you ever noticed how when someone angry comes in the room, the baby knows and would throw a fit, would cry, or, would respond to that, versus someone with a lot more space and kindness and love and generosity? How is it that the baby is interacting different? And what is it that they know? So, also, everywhere you've made whatever language you speak, English, Spanish, Hindi, whatever, all the ways in which you've made that more relevant, more real, more true than your true language of energy, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate it? Thank you. Because that's the thing. When you're looking at engaging with whispers of possibilities, actualizing in the world, in your life, in your businesses, through your businesses, that which you're aware of, it requires you to practice that different language, that different muscle. And that's the muscle and the language of energy. Because you, as an infinite being, not you, the person, not you, the personality, but you, the being that has no problem, that has infinite possibilities, infinite choice, infinite abundance available at all times. And everywhere, first of all, you know, you see, my ADD brain kind of jumps tracks, but we're going to just roll with that. Everywhere that you also, gosh, the train of thought has left the platform. Never mind. We're going to keep going. What if nothing's wrong? So, like, everywhere you've given up you, the language that is your language, your primary language, in favor of anything else, is it time for you to learn or cultivate your presence with that which you already know again? And what would be different about how things show up in your life and how things show up in your businesses when you start to cultivate trust in yourself, not confidence? Because, confidence is something that for example, you're driving a car, right? If you've never driven a car and your first time behind the wheels, you'll not feel confident about it. But the more you engage with it, the more you play, you'll gain the confidence. I think confidence is the most misunderstood concepts on our planet, because it's not something you build. It's something that you practice and you become. Like, there's no big deal with that. Of course, you're going to get better when you practice something. It's the trust element. Would you be willing to cultivate trust with yourself, with whatever it is that you would like to create? And would you be willing to let go of some control? And when I'm saying also, I guess what's worth looking right now is I'm using this words going out of control. And a lot of times when I'm working with my clients, this conversation almost 100% of the times comes up. And 100% of the times, like, it brings up some intensity and some energy. And I always ask, what does being out of control mean to you? And I clearly remember this one particular answer one of my clients once gave me was like, being out of control feels like, I'm behind the wheel, downhill, and my brakes have failed. So everything, all of that is everywhere, being out of control for you is this energy of wrecking havoc. And like everything has fallen apart. Would you be willing to destroy and uncreate all of those definitions you have around what being in control, being out of control means? Being out of control is more like an energy of receiving more. Because when you're really trying to control something, are you really allowing yourself to relax into it? And unless you're relaxing into what you're doing, how you're creating, what you're showing up as, can you truly receive? And the whispers of possibilities, you've got to be willing to receive them. It's not something that's solid. And that's the thing, that possibilities are energies. They're everywhere around us. You can't see them. You can't feel them, probably, and maybe you could. But it's like science tells us, right? That a molecule has just 1%, 2% tiny matter, and everything else is space. Like, do you remember being in one of your science classes in the lab and through the microscope looking at the cellular structure of a molecule and, just looking at this tiny little dot and a huge nothing essentially, and this like very loose structure, moving structure of an atom, a molecule. And so, what if science knows that? We all know that. Like, we can see it, we can study it. We don't know how it shows, like, we don't yet know how to make sense of it in a lot of ways. Like, quantum physics is trying for like 100 years. But not, how much do we acknowledge that that which is real, that which is solid, that which appears to be, is just 1% of the picture, and 99% of it is space. And that space is where all the possibilities exist. And just because you cannot see it with your eyes does not make it any less real. Because guess what? Under the microscope, you can even see that, right? So, what different way of being do you need to allow yourself to be? And do you need to cultivate trust with? that would allow you to create that which you're aware of. What do you know is possible in your life, in the world, against our logic, against any linearity? What do you know is possible? And guess what? I'm going to totally butcher this, but there's this, I think, a quote from a movie or a book that anytime a child says, I don't believe in a fairy dies. What if anytime you discredit the possibilities you're aware of, unacknowledge it, ignore it, that possibility is dying? What is truly possible that requires you to trust in it in order to actualize itself? And what possibility is that in your life? What possibility is that with your financial situation? What possibility is that with your business and creations, with your relationships? What whispers of possibilities? What do you know before you bought into everybody else telling you that's not possible, that's not practical, that's not logical, that's not rational? Come on. Just the way for literally millions of years of existence that people thought it's just not possible to go to moon. Come on, what are you saying? I mean, can you imagine right here, right now, I'm somewhere in a different part of the world, and I know a lot of you guys are from completely different part of the world, like opposite side of the globe almost. And real time, for those of you who are live, real time, we are engaging face to face, almost in a virtual sense. Can you imagine 100 years ago saying that to somebody? Would they call you crazy? Maybe. But are you? So, what lies have you bought about you that aren't true? What future are you aware of that is possible? And if time was not relevant, what can you be with it today? Would you be willing to allow yourself to be out of control? Because let's look at that. When you're not out of control, what are you trying? To be in control. And when you're trying to be in control, actually, I think one of the greatest gifts of 2020 was how it just exposed us to the lie that things can be predictable, that you can control things. Nothing is predictable. Just today, where you are, where I am, anywhere in the world, the earth might decide to just, stretch and shake off a little bit and everything collapses. Just today. Nothing is in control. And that's not wrong. That's not something you need to be anxious about unless you have forgotten to trust you and you have forgotten to engage with energies that are always communicating with you. Like when there was a tsunami in Thailand, the elephants knew days before, days before the earthquake. The rangers noticed elephants moving to the highland. It's a very, very famous story. And, scientists actually went down to study that. What did they know? What do the birds know when they know like they don't have laptop. They're not reading radars, the weather with radar, but how do they know that it's time? Like there was another amazing study of, I think I should get more. I've got to find out what those birds were and what exactly that area was. But somewhere in North America, these birds migrate every single year from South America and Brazil and places like that. And so at one point they studied and they put like these micro GPS systems to look at where are they going, what is their pathway, and how are they navigating, through between the seasons. And they studied it over years and they found that there was a pattern, that they were aware of change in seasons, change in, which kind of still you can argue it makes sense. Daylight is getting longer, it's getting warmer, so they would know it's time to move north or things like that. But one year they noticed in the Gulf of Mexico there was a storm. There was supposed to be a storm. Nobody knew about it. Like we didn't know what's coming. One of those, major big I think cyclones that come that, again, sorry for the lack of details, but you can find out, probably read up if you're interested about that. But there was one of those cyclones and things that came in. And what was really interesting about that year, that these birds actually migrated a month ago. And the scientists were baffled. They were wondering what happened because this is not normal. That's not what they do. And a month later, there was a cyclone. And so, what did they know? What did they know? And how did they know? And what is that different way of being and engaging in communion with the earth, in communion with this place we get to fucking embody and walk on? I mean, have you ever realized you are walking on a planet that's hanging loose in the universe? Talk about being out of control. Space is out of control. Universe is out of control. Like, they're not controlling. There's a little bit of order and so much chaos, and just a tiny drop of order holding that chaos in place. And what have you misidentified is required in terms of order and control? That's actually killing your creations and killing the possibilities you're aware of. So that's my invitation for you guys to look into this week, look at and start engaging with and being present with. What are you aware of? What are the whispers of possibilities you're aware of? Whispers that are speaking to you. And look at also, where are you trying to control in your life? What are you trying to make sure? And in making sure of it, and in trying to control it, you're letting go of the possibilities or ignoring the possibilities that you're aware of. And I kind of get it. This journey of consciousness, it sounds very fancy. Oh my gosh, I'm going to be all consciousness and all. I'm going to be all conscious and all, and I'm not going to have any problems. And it's going to be all ease, joy, and glory. I'm always going to be happy. And yes, there's a lot of ease, a lot of joy, a lot of glory. And that does not mean that it's all that you're wearing rose colored glasses now and you're living in this perfect world. It's not a perfect world. It's a beautiful world and everything exists, the good, the bad, the ugly. And what if all of it comes to you with ease, joy, and glory, or could come to you with ease, joy, and glory? And so look at what are the whispers of possibilities you're aware of. What do you know is possible? If nobody ever told you that that's irrational, that's irrelevant, come on, that's not really possible. Yeah, sounds like a good idea. That's like a fantasy. That's so woo woo. What are those things you're aware of that should be possible? And look at, where are you using control to stop yourself from exploring that? Next week, I'm starting a 30 by 30 exploration. We're actually launching a new free something, and we are going to be playing the first month in that explore. It's actually going to be called the Conscious Being, Conscious Living Club. And in that club, we will just be exploring and playing with these tools every day and looking at how can we be something different? What difference in energy, in space, in consciousness can we be? And how can we engage different with our lives and in our creations that would allow the possibilities that we're aware of to show up? And so we're going to be doing a 30 by 30 challenge on going out of control and out of limitations. More details on that will be coming soon, but thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so grateful that you're here. And if you're listening to this in the future, you'll find details about all of this, the upcoming Conscious Being Conscious Living Club, which probably when you're listening to it in the future already is, and all the challenges that we do there. I'll create a library just to make sure you have them all. Awesome, my friend. Thank you for tuning in. Please join me again next week on another exploration on conscious being, conscious living, and truly what the fuck else is possible. Pardon my French, or don't. Join me. And if you like it, please share it with your friends, would you? Thank you. Bye.